What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV. Spurs have drawn 1-1 at home to Fulham here in what is not a good result for Tottenham. Again, showing inconsistencies after battering Man City at the Etihad last week, 4-0. We followed up with two, draws at home, and frustrating draws at that, I would say, here with Sean Butler. Good to see Sean back on the channel.
Good to see you soon.
Look, it was disappointing, wasn't it? I think it's fair to say Tottenham were not at their best today. Again, Thursday, Sunday schedule probably taking its toll for Tottenham this season. I think it's the fourth time in a row Tottenham have played on Thursday and failed to win on the Sunday. And considering, Arsenal won, Chelsea won this weekend, there's been a lot of teams winning, and we haven't kind of kept pace with them this weekend. Disappointing draw. For you, draw a fair result? What's your assessment?
Yeah, no, we were obviously just talking about it before, Tim. I think that if I'm entirely honest, we were outclassed today from basically all but about 5 minutes of that game. We had our moments, a couple of them here and there, but Fulham had chance after chance after chance. Fraser Forster, I always get called out for calling his name wrong. He was our best player on the pitch, and there wasn't a lot of positives to take, if I'm entirely honest. I think you have to give Fulham their dues. Very good team. I'm glad to see that before the game that there was the right credit given to the risk of this game, because not just because of the Thursday-Sunday thing, but Fulham are a very good team, and they exploited our system with their strengths, and their strengths come in their fullbacks. With Robinson and Kenny Tete, incredible balanced fullbacks, traditional fullbacks, but they can get forward with massive engines and create havoc when you have a team that looks to come narrow, and they took advantage of that. They didn't look like the away team today. They were on us from minute one all the way through the first half. And look, obviously, I'll call it, we had a lot of injuries, we had a lot of sickness. We are bare bones, threadbare in our squad. Our options on the bench were next to zero, so I'll keep that in mind, and I'll try to be balanced with the appraisal. But ultimately, the 11 on the pitch, if you're looking at our squad, you're looking at our starting 11 versus theirs at home, given the stakes, given the opportunity, given the what's at play here, and the ability, the need for the fans to feel like there's some ability to create some momentum, we didn't turn up today. And look, like I say, I'll take it on board that there were injuries and illness and the fatigue from Thursday, but other teams can handle it, and we don't seem to be able to get ourselves out of third gear at times, and it's not really good enough, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I think missing Decky, missing Solanke today, they were both massive misses on the pitch. I think you can see that, mostly throughout the whole game. I think there was a lack of ability to hang on to the ball, to hold off your markers, and especially a team like Tottenham, who rely very much on winning your one-on-one duels to create space. Werner, Sonny, Johnson in that front three were not able to do that. I think the Fulham defenders were finding it way too easily to bully us, way too easy to win back the ball, and it just led to Tottenham not having any control in the game. It led to Tottenham always being on the back foot, and it also led to Fulham exploiting what was spaced out wide time after time. It just seemed as though every time Fulham had a switch of play out wide, they had two free men. It was their winger and their fullback, and our wingers were not helping tracking back. Our fullbacks weren't able to contain two players at a time. Robinson and Tete have unbelievable engines. Yeah, exactly, that's the word I'm looking for, engines. They can just literally go up and down all day and without getting tired, especially Robinson down their left-hand side. And it's something we really badly struggled with throughout the game. And it's something that Fulham noticed very early on. It was something they clearly planned for, I would say. I think they did exactly the same at Craven Cottage last season. And we had no answer to it. And we didn't have the legs in the field to cope with it. We didn't have the players up front to kind of hold on to the ball to sustain any sort of periods of pressure, and it meant that whenever Fulham went forward, they always had an avenue to kind of get in behind us and basically get on us, and their great chances. It meant whenever the ball went out wide, they either had an overlap from the fullback, or if our fullback went with the overlap, they had the ability to cut inside with their winger. And it kind of just meant whenever the ball out wide, we had to wait to see what they'll do with it rather than being proactive and being able to win the ball back. Paro and the doggy were kind of
isolated.
They were not passengers, they were just watching, spectators in a sense. Because whenever the ball went out wide, they had to kind of wait to see what the winger was going to do with the ball until we could react. And it kind of meant to win the ball back, we either had to block across, or we had to kind of clear across, or we had to block a shot which was coming in from the middle. And obviously that was always going to lead to Spurs conceding at some point, and that did happen. Thankfully that we were 1-0 up at the time, so we weren't behind, but obviously Tom Kenny's goal was always coming. I mean, Fraser Forster was probably our best player today with the amount of saves he had to make. And when I look at standouts, Forster, Dragushin and Davis were definitely there, and that's probably due to more the amount of work they had to do rather than in terms of them being outstanding performances, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, look, I think those three specific, obviously Fraser Forster, it's very easy to pick and isolate a goalkeeper's performance and go, you either got it wrong or you didn't. I don't think there was much he could do for the goal. From my angle, from what I saw, I thought it was just a fantastic finish. The rest of it, I thought he was kept us in the game in the first half and early parts of the second. When it comes to that fullback analysis you were saying, listen, I don't hold Destiny Udogie and Pedro Porro entirely responsible for that. Listen, I'm someone who tries to defend players like Brennan Johnson, like Timo Werner, probably a lot more than is necessary at times. But today, I don't think there was too much that you can excuse. With Brennan Johnson specifically, like I know he scored 9 goals this season, and if you are just a stat guy and you're looking at just that turnover, that output, you're going to say the guy's doing his job. I don't think he is. I think he's become a bit of a resting on his laurels on the fact that he's mastered the art of being at the back post for a tap-in. Well, not a tap-in always, there's some of them are good finishes.
Good finish today.
They are good finishes, so I'm not taking that away from him at all, but his work rate off the ball, his work rate when the ball is towards his side is nowhere near good enough. He doesn't get back, and even when we have the ball, with Fraser Forster, who's more inclined to pop the ball over the top into the channel, or Radu Dragusin, who's more inclined to lob that ball. He likes a long ball. From his days in Italy, he's learned how to thread a ball into the channels. Brennan Johnson and Timo Werner need to be more on their toes and ready to kind of exploit the space. There was so much space between Fulham's back line and their goalkeeper today, and both Timo Werner and Brennan Johnson didn't do anywhere near enough in that regard. Neither did Sonny, if I'm entirely honest, in the 9 role. I thought it was disappointing from the front three. I didn't think James Maddison had a great game, but like we were talking about a minute ago on the other video, Sim, I think that there was opportunities there for, despite our depleted squad, for Big Ange to make better, smarter decisions with regards what to do when they went down to 10 men. There was a chance there with probably 15 minutes if you include added time and when that red card happened. And I think Ange needs to be a little bit smarter with regards how do you take advantage of that. And Will Lancashire, young guy, not a huge amount of experience, but you need a body in the box. And if Decky's going to come on and do what he's doing, which is take the ball by the horns a lot right now, maybe a little bit too much. If I'm entirely honest, I don't want to criticise Decky because I love him and I think he's been sensational this year. But I worry a little bit that he's now, that kind of confidence that he has can blend into poor decision making if he constantly wants to take on the entire world all at once. And sometimes that decision making can be a little bit sort of naive. With regards to Ange though, if he's going to do that, which I think was obvious that he would have come on and done that, then you need somebody else to be there. And in the last 5-6 minutes we saw Lucas Bergvall as the most forward offensive player. Yeah, and that to me was a little bit silly.
That I had a big problem with, I think, when I think Ange was readying these 3 subs and then the red card kind of changes the situation in my opinion. And I think Ange at that point, he planned to take off Maddison and bring on Bergvall and make all these and make that change. Which, whatever, when it's 11v11, I can't understand. But because Fulham was still coming at us and it's a bit transitional, maybe we needed more legs. But when it's 10 versus 11 and Fulham are bringing on 3 defenders, their plan is to park the bus and they're going to sit deep. At that point, I don't think legs running back is that necessary. You need people who've got unbelievable technical ability, who can bring that bit of magic and can pick a lock, and that's what Maddison can bring. And unfortunately, as soon as he went off, we didn't bring on Lancashire as well, so we still had Decky up front, we still had Johnston out and Son out wide, and it meant that Decky was feeling that responsibility to be that main creator,
to come back,
and to
get
be
the
the
ball.
star. Exactly. Yeah. And when he was coming back, and he was our striker at that point, he was coming deep to pick up the ball, and we had no one in the box. As you said, Bergvall at times was pretty much our lone soldier in the box. Right. And when you're crossing the ball in, there's 5 big defenders in there, and you've only got bloody Bergvall to aim at, it was never going to happen. It was never going to work. Yeah. And you need Will Lancashire. You need someone. You need a presence in there. Yeah. And obviously, I understand Slanky's not there, but Lancashire's ready and waiting. You've decided.
Chomping at the bit. Yeah, chomping at the bit.
You've decided to keep him here for the season. You've decided to not send him out on loan and have him to be a squad option, to let him be an option. You brought him on with 2 minutes to go. I don't think he had a touch in the end, did he?
No, but he was moving around. He was running around. When he did come on, he was trying to find space. He was trying to push the players out of the way. That's a guy that he scored his first goal a couple of weeks ago over in Turkey. Unbelievable for the guy. And then obviously it all falls apart with the unnecessary second yellow. But he's chomping at the bit to come on and to make things right, to kind of get that monkey off his back or off his chest, whatever the phrase is. And I just feel like there was a better option there. He physically is a big guy. He's young in age, but he's big in stature. And I think that he was a better option there. But listen, it is what it is. That's just, in isolation, little things to pick at. Overall today, but the energy wasn't there, the fight wasn't there, the desire wasn't there. And I think that if you're looking for balance against a team that is smart enough to figure out that Tottenham come narrow, you've got fullbacks that are given the licence to come in and create that inversion, then they've got fullbacks that overlap on the outside of their wing forwards, and I think that Tottenham were not set up correctly. And even if it was by design, then that's on Ange. If it was under the license of the players to creatively figure it out for themselves, then they need to be smarter. Brennan Johnson needs to work harder. Timo needs to work harder. And I think that we lost today because for me the front four or five. Oh, sorry, we drew today.
I know it feels like a loss.
Feels like a loss. We drew today because I think that the front five weren't clicking, weren't energetic, and weren't putting in enough effort. And I understand the Thursday thing, but you know what? The teams around us all have to fight that same battle every week, and they managed to find a way.
And I think as well, you know, what you're talking about, those problems we're having out wide, I think is a big reason as well. When we play teams who play a back five with wing backs, we have a big issue because those wing backs get all the freedom of the pitch when they play against us, and that's why a lot of the time we do seem to drop points against teams with back fives. Now today we didn't play that way, but we did play against a team that had two unbelievable fullbacks when it comes to their engines and to exploit space. We couldn't handle it. When it comes to Thursday, Sunday, that is, look, whether it's something that's an excuse or not, it's an issue because we can't seem to sustain the intensity when we play Thursday and then we back it up with a Sunday performance. For the last 4 games now, we've played Thursday, Sunday and dropped points. This Thursday Europa League runs are clearly hurting our Premier League form. I think there's no denying that at this point, and that's something if Ange doesn't sort out, he's going to be under increasing pressure because we've got, I think, 4 Thursday games this month. This Thursday in December.
The season could easily fall apart.
If he doesn't sort that out, and the worrying thing is, with our squad being depleted game on game, you know, we're losing Solanke today. I don't know how long for. Hopefully he's back for next game. But Archie Gray went off as well. Each game we're losing more and more players, and our squad's looking even more depleted. And you know, asking the team to sustain that intensity when we're losing more and more players, and we're asking to do more and more essentially, is not something that fills me with much confidence that we're going to be able to do. So, big game on Thursday against Bournemouth. Hopefully we can bounce back, but at the moment we are very much struggling for consistency yet again. We're struggling to maintain our level of performance, and with each time we drop a performance after having a good performance, I'm just worried that the team are going to drop their heads in terms of losing faith that the way we play is sustainable. Once that starts to happen, are they going to look to the manager thinking, you know, the way you're setting us up is causing us to have this inconsistency? And once that starts to happen, then you've got all different kinds of issues. So big problems at the moment. Bad result. It keeps us. I mean, I don't know where we are on the table now. I think we're 5 points behind Chelsea and Arsenal now, who are obviously in the top 4. So we'll lose very much a lot of ground. We do have Chelsea coming up, so a chance to kind of catch them up again. But
they've got 40 odd people in their squad, and obviously there's a smaller squad to pick from. But ultimately, you know, Tottenham are as difficult as it is to kind of accept being turned over at home by a London team that only a couple of years ago I would have said it's Fulham at home, should be 3 points guaranteed. I respect Fulham. I think they've got a really good team there, a nice little playing style, and some really good balance to their outfit. I think you're right that maybe there is a lot of ask and demands from the Tottenham system right now. However, I think that certain players in that squad can do a lot more than they are. I don't think today was the most exhausting effort that other games that we put in could be. And look, you know, the difference between Ange ball and like a Pep Guardiola ball is that Pep says that the ball does the movement. Ange ball likes to the players to do that stuff, and that's fine. But there are consequences to it, and you have to embrace and adapt in accordance. And Ange should be smart enough, old enough, big enough, wise enough to know that. And I don't think injuries are, not that he uses that as an excuse. You don't hear him hark on about it in press conferences as much as other managers do. They are a reality. They are an explanation to a degree, but there's more that can come from certain individuals that I don't think are pulling their weight. And if they're not, then you know what? Those guys should be off the pitch, and other players that are chomping at the bit to throw in the effort, they're the guys that should be coming in where available. And to me, like you said earlier, mate, I think Will Lancashire was probably an option that we should have leaned into a lot earlier in the game than we did.
All right, Shawnee, appreciate you coming on, mate.
Man.
Let's hope for a bounce back on Thursday. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.